my Zoom account so that if anything goes wrong, then we don't lose any of the work. It's still there.
Okay, let me just
Okay.
fix on my end here so it's not so. Oh, I guess it won't. Okay, we're good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so fingers crossed. It's just a fun chat, and we talk about you and what you do and where you're at and what you're excited to talk about and sharing and you know what's going on with the planning and anything else that comes up. I usually I don't have like a script or anything. I just kind of let the conversation unfold organically. So
Yeah, I
that
like it.
it makes it more interesting, I think, right? Than like, here's the 5 questions I asked everybody.
I'm gonna pop my progesterone before we start.
Yum.
Get it nice and tucked in there so nobody sees that.
Yeah, okay, so let's see. All right, and okay, I have done this before. I can do it again. Just sometimes for some reason Facebook tells me I don't have permission to do this.
Facebook is very wonky, temperamental. It is an andropause male.
Yeah. Oh, it looks like it's gonna let me. So let me just rename this. Live with Holly. On my timeline. So it's going to go public. And then from there, I should be able to send it into the group. So
Okay.
let's just see how cooperative it is today. It's thinking. Oh, it looks like it's going.
Okay.
It's preparing the live stream.
You just told me this is going to be live streamed. Good.
Oh, good. So we're potentially even live already because that's kind of how it works. Okay, awesome. So we are here with Holly Warner today, and we're talking about the upcoming CPMS Perimenopause Conference and all things, no holds barred, right? We're going to talk about everything, anything that women need to talk about, and we already have a really good idea of that. Holly's been in the CPMS group and participating, supporting people in perimenopause there, and so she has a pretty good idea of what goes on, what the problem is, and how long have you been helping people with perimenopause and menopause hormone stuff?
I've been in the industry for over 20 years, but I started my first clinical practice seeing patients just over 15 years ago.
Wow, so that's a lot of experience, right? You've seen a lot of the changes that have gone on in the industry as well during that time.
It's really nice to see. It's about time because, our voices were getting tired screaming from the mountaintops, and now there's a bunch of us, so we don't have to scream as loud.
Well, and people really want to know, right? Like
Yeah.
in, instead of just whatever, like when I first started talking about it with my friends, they all they wanted to know is what their doctor had to say.
Yeah.
That was as far as their interest went. And now there are so many different people talking about it. And I just saw an interview. I don't know if you saw it with Louise Newson, the UK doctor. She runs the Balance app. It's a
Yeah.
pretty good app. It's got a period tracker, it's got a symptom tracker, and she's just been coming under fire for talking about testosterone and prescribing testosterone to women and like coming under fire because of people saying, that's dangerous and dangerous doses. And but when she was talking about it, it seems like I use
Scary
some,
stuff.
yeah, I use testosterone. It's not it's not gonna make you have a mustache or suddenly become a bodybuilder. It's not anywhere close to that. So
No, we're not
yeah.
using insane doses. We're giving women what they need in the way that they need it. I mean, like mine, I get mine compounded because I like the base better. And, it's literally just like two little lines on here is how much cream I use. Rub it in, vulva for best absorption, labia, rub it around, gets absorbed, call it a day. I mean, and I've been on testosterone therapy for over a decade. I'm 47 now. I think I started I was 35, so it's 12 years. I still sound like a girl. I haven't grown up poo-poos. I don't have a beard or a back knee or like, I mean, I'm not jacked. I wish I was. The fear around it, it's ridiculous. It's not a male hormone, it's a hormone. And the amount we have of it would surprise most people.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I think I was thinking about, like, because it's come up as planning this conference of the whole, like, I don't know how you think about it, but I kind of think about like camps, the no prescription camp and the all prescription camp, and then the only bioidentical camp, like these really very stringent kind of like everybody else's wrong opinions. And I was like, what happened for me? And you know what it was? I had no strong opinion either way.
Mhm.
I was seeing a functional medicine doctor, and she said, I can see by your levels that your testosterone is like low. So some of the symptoms you're saying, about like I really noticed a lot of fatigue and I really just I didn't I'm self-employed and I'm an entrepreneur and I'm kind of a go-getter and I just
Yeah.
didn't want to get like I was she said that's the testosterone and she was right.
Yeah,
But
absolutely.
because I didn't have an opinion, I wasn't like, opinionated about what was happening. I just trusted that she knew her practice and it
Do
was worth trying.
you know what's really funny about testosterone is that way back, not that long ago, but long enough, we didn't even test for it. We straight up went by symptoms. And I don't do that in practice with other hormones, but it's the one that I know takes longer to take effect. And when you hit that dose, you're going to know it. If it's too much, you're going to know it. So as much
Hmm.
as I look at the numbers on the test, you're free and your total, and I look at that, when people say, what should my levels be at for testosterone specifically? I say, how do you feel?
Hmm.
Because we never used to test. And then all of a sudden it came in that we had to test. And it was like, but we didn't before. why
Yeah.
why now? There's no data to say that we have to now all of a sudden. For what?
Well, I think that I wasn't aware that it was even a thing, but she was already looking because she
Mhm.
I just happened to end up with the gold standard, the best Alberta doctor, I think, in functional medicine. And she was really like and the other thing I like about her is that she leaves it up to me, like this is the prescription and I want you to try it, but
Yeah.
you like if I was using it and she said, if you have those things like acne, sudden acne, or if you start to feel like not yourself in some way, take it back. And she's really good about letting
Yeah.
me decide how much. And I really don't, I hardly use it at all. Maybe once or twice a week. I could be using it every day, but I don't need to, so I don't. And I'm also lucky that my doctors trust my experience, because this is a funny test thing where she was looking at my numbers. I was 45 and I was ready to do whatever she said because I was really starting to feel bad at that point. And she said, wow, your numbers on day 21 look amazing. So many women would trade with you any day. How are you feeling? And I was like, terrible. She was like, well, that's why we treat based on symptoms. Like the information is good and it's good to know because especially as things changed and my estrogen ended up going crazy and all that other stuff had to be dealt with,
Mhm.
it was important to know that. But it is really important to address the symptoms. So that's
Yeah.
that's one of the things that makes a big difference. And I really appreciate that you're sharing information from like studies and like
Mhm.
looking at sources so that when people look at something you've shared, like pick something that's controversial that you shared lately. I
Yeah.
don't know. I think you shared something about recently estrogen and cancer, right? And the link,
Yeah.
right? That people think that it's like you take estrogen and then you get cancer.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's listen, it shouldn't be controversial, but because we were fed so much misinformation from a fucking press release, that's what we've been taught. That's what we believe. It's as though I'm coming along and saying, and you don't need oxygen to breathe, but that's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that I've studied oncology specific to hormone therapy. So I know what's going on. I know Dr. Blooming's work. I know Rebecca Glasser. I know all of these different clinicians and the studies that they were doing. And like, it's all there. The data is there. And we see, oh, hey, look at that for treatment of active breast cancer. What's the outcome? Better outcomes. So why are we saying no to all hormone therapy? Can we not maybe be selective and say, hey, progesterone is apoptotic to breast cancer. We should be using that. Even with progesterone receptor positive breast cancer, you want progesterone. Whereas with estrogen positive, receptor positive breast cancer, you don't want because it would feed it. So they're doing two different things, but the general public doesn't understand that. And we're not teaching women. So there's a lot of
Yeah.
that, like the oncology component that I'm trying to help women unlearn and relearn. And, most clinicians don't want to touch a woman who's, even 3 years out of cancer. They want to, we know that it would help you improve your quality of life, protect you, but until you hit the 5 mark, we don't want to touch you. And it's sad because I know how women suffer, but the risk to prescribing, if anything were to happen and there was a recurrence, they're immediately going to blame the hormones rather than this is just luck of the draw.
Well,
So,
and it is cancer, right? So I'll will remind people often, like, they don't even really know what it is or why it is or what happens, or and because sometimes it's just reabsorbed and then it's gone, and sometimes it grows and it spreads. And as to why, who does what and what exactly, there's still a lot of guesswork. And one of the things that I've been thinking about lately, that about the debate and people getting in camps and getting in trouble, because in the support group we don't do that, right? Like, everybody's entitled. If you want to, like, someone was sharing this morning about a flower and helping with bleeding. If you want to try that, I don't feel like I should have a say over whether you try that or not, right? It's good information and maybe it's something for you. But we get into trouble, I think, when it's like this all or nothing. It's everyone should take all of the hormones or no one should take any of the hormones. And the individual, it just doesn't work like that. I don't know if you saw the speakers on epigenetics and menopause, but one of the points they made was like intermittent fasting is one of the things that can either be great, women love it, it's wonderful, or it makes them sick. And why is that? And they were like, it's in your genes. Like, we can literally see which gene would predispose you to be one of the ladies that would feel better with intermittent fasting, or if you should be one of the people that avoids that. It's our own body chemistry being, you know what I mean? Like, maybe I'm just extra sensitive. A little bit of testosterone goes a long way for me. But,
absolutely.
you
I
know,
mean, I've studied epigenetics for 2 decades. I started under, Dr. Muhammad Mansour, he was nominated for a Nobel Prize. Like, you don't get better than that. He taught me everything when it came to hormone bites and genetics that I needed to know, which was amazingly eye-opening. But then you also take it and you look at, okay, so there's the genetic component, but then also exogenous versus endogenous hormones. Do they act the same? Do they play the same? They don't always. So there's so many different pieces to the puzzle that you have to take into account, as well as how do you feel? You,
yeah,
patient.
the individual person.
Yes.
Right? The person that's sitting in front of you. And that's one of the things that I think is really important, because
Mhm.
I did a private session this last week with a lady, and I'm really about mindfulness. I'm a yoga therapist. That's part of my training. And so that's part of one of the things that I recommend. And I try different ways of getting people to work with it, because there are a lot of different ways of getting into it. It doesn't have to be excruciating. Actually, it shouldn't be. It should be somewhat enjoyable. So you do it again. But she found a way of doing it with using music. And when she told me, she was kind of like, oh, and I'm doing this thing that's not exactly what you asked me to do. And I was like, perfect,
Yeah.
perfect. Take it and make it yours. And I have music as my background too. So I'm perfectly happy that you've taken this idea and found a way to apply it into your life that works for you. And that's why the whole idea of this one size fits all, where I'll just do what my friend did because that's what worked for her. And that isn't really the case, right?
No. And I mean, it all boils down to what's your end goal? Are you looking to just alleviate symptoms? If it's symptom management, you might only like a little dab will do and you're good to go and you've reached your goal and you're fine. You don't want to talk about anything else. My main concern with women, I guess why I advocate for hormone therapy so much is because I know what happens down the road. I have so many patients that have started with me in their 70s and in their 80s. The mothers of patients that I see that are rolling through menopause now, and they say it's too late, but it's
Yeah.
not. I see what happens to patients when we start to slowly and gently then give them back what they lost 30 years ago or 20 years ago and watch them like bloom, come back to life. It's like a flower that's laid dormant all winter and now they're starting to bloom because it's spring again. And it's a beautiful thing. And I see the women that say, I wouldn't have broke a bone when I fell if my bones had been stronger, if I hadn't been afraid of adding in XYZ and understanding that testosterone and estradiol work together for those bones and that we lose trabecular. Trabecular bone is lost in perimenopause before menopause hits. And you can't regrow that like you can like long bone. So educating women is my biggest passion, advocating and educating, even more than the seeing you in clinical practice, overseeing what gets prescribed for you, making sure you get what you need. More than that is here's the information. Here's the therapeutic levels that achieve each goal: bone, brain, cardiovascular. Where do you want to be? And how do we get you there in a way that doesn't make you feel like crap?
Hmm.
You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah. The bone stuff, man. One of my friends, she broke a bone putting on her shoe
Mm-hmm.
in her foot. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I had never heard that before. And I can't remember if that was before she was diagnosed, but shortly thereafter, at around that time, it's osteoporosis, right? And she's younger than I am. And that really struck me as like, okay, so we're kind of missing the boat if we're not looking at hormones when woman like she's younger. Yeah, so she's like maybe 50 now, but already firmly in
Family.
osteoporosis. Yeah.
Yeah, family history is huge. What happened to your mom? What happened to your aunt? What happened to your sister? It's
Yeah.
all a part of it, right? And what happened to your dad? I look at my family. My grandmother had the strongest bones you'd ever see. You couldn't smash her with a hammer and break a bone. She just was strong. But my grandfather, not the same. So when he fell and broke a hip, he continued to go about his daily business, and no one knew he broke a hip until I went, "What's wrong with Grandpa?
Oh my
Why are
God.
you? We need to get that X-ray." And when he went, it was like, "You've been walking around with a broken hip."
Broken hip.
And he had surgery, and then they found all the other cardiovascular issues. And I look at that and I go, he needed hormone therapy. If he had had that, these things, because it happens to men too, but when it happens
Yeah.
to men, it's immediately you're in a care facility. That's it, you're
Yeah.
done. Whereas women, we tend to be, we're stronger beings. I don't care what they say, we just are. We can go back home and recover afterwards. It's a different ball game for us, but we don't talk about the men at all. Why are we not talking about the men too?
Yeah, it's that's one of the things that like my husband actually recently said, "Oh, maybe my testosterone is low." And I said, "Maybe your testosterone is low. Perhaps you might want to go and talk to the doctor about that." Now he hasn't actually done it, but he I'm anticipating that he's going to get around to at least looking into it and asking. And for me, I just recently got, I don't know if I told you this, but I did the Beautiful Hormones class with Dr. Sarah Gottfried
Mm-hmm.
on the commune university. They had her come in. I think they do it once a year. It was expensive, but it was so good. And she went over everything with everybody. And she said to all of us, you gals in your 50s, I want you to go and ask to do the bone density scan. I want you to get a baseline at least now so that you know exactly where you are, so that when you get into your 60s and they do it again, you have something to compare it to, instead of what she sees all the time is that there's nothing to compare it to. So you just don't know exactly where you started. So I thought we were just doing preventative testing. Asked my functional medicine doctor, let's do a bone scan. Not, I've been weight training for 10 years. I won two ladies weight contests, like I actually probably am a little bit on the jacked side, but not that I look masculine at all. Um, it came back as, yeah, no, you have osteoporosis, dude. You're 55. And I was like, how did that even happen? And it's genetics, right? My mom had it. My dad had it. It's just, but I feel incredibly fortunate and lucky to have that caught at 55 before I've had any incident. I've had no issues at all with
Do
any
you
of
want to
my
know what's really
bones.
fun about that? Is a DEXA is really great to be like, here's you are, and here's where you were, but where are you going? Where are you going to
Yeah.
be? It doesn't tell you that. So with my patients, I say that's great that your doctor did a DEXA. Love that for you. However, do your NTX or a CTX, depending on what country you're in. So CTX in Canada, NTX in the States, and a P1NP. So, and I go into this on my Substack for people that want more information about all of that, where it talks about the trabecular bone and long bone and the different tests you can get. The reason for it is, our osteoclast or osteoblast, these markers show us bone regression. How fast are we eating up that bone and how fast are we replacing it? Because you might start to speed up the regression, but really slow down the regrowth, that's not good. Now we need to
Mm-hmm.
go back to the way that it was before. And those tests will show you how that's happening. So I've seen patients come to you with a number that's up here, 47, 82, 105, whatever, on estradiol therapy and testosterone therapy, adequate therapeutic doses. And all of a sudden, a year later, we test and they're at like 14. That's what a 12-year-old would have. That is strong bones. You can reverse osteoporosis. You can reverse osteopenia. You can regrow bone, not trabecular bone, but the other bones. You can, the long bone. You can regrow that. We can do it with proper hormone therapy. And so when I do this as a baseline, patients go, oh my God, this is where I'm going down the road. This is where I'm going to be. This is scary. And then I show them, here's where you are now. And they go, my therapy is working. And it's the best thing to look at it on paper and go, it's working.
Yeah.
This is working. I love this.
Yeah. It's crazy. I'm just, I love the Estrogen Matters book. Like I love these guys
I
and
know
they're
I have it. It's right here.
yeah, they're on the podcast and everything. And you mentioned the blooming author, right? Like
Yeah.
yeah, really I just love it. So practical, right? Like they're examples and so easy to understand. You don't have to be good at science to understand this stuff, you guys. That's
Yeah.
partially what I'm doing with the conference where it's like
Yeah.
you don't have to be a scientist to understand what's going on. It's really not rocket science. It is a complex system and the human body is not simple and everything does affect everything else and that's true. But the frustrating part for me when I got the book, I was really excited to see what they had to say about testosterone. And I
Mm-hmm.
haven't read the whole thing yet, but I went through the index because that's kind of like my best friend is the index.
Yeah.
And I didn't see any talk about testosterone, and I think maybe that's a little bit just kind of like left over with this idea that estrogen is for girls and testosterone is for boys. Is that kind of what you're seeing when you're talking to people?
So that wasn't the focus of the book, and I think that that's important to have that nuance, is that the focus of the book was trying to erase an old narrative that estrogen was bad for us, caused cancer, and no, 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 and blood clots and all of these risks. So I think that that was more the point of that particular book, more than the testosterone conversation. But you're right, I do see a lot of, and it's sort of irritating because hormone therapy is, it's very nuanced and it is complex. It is not
Yeah.
rocket science, but it's pretty damn close from a clinician standpoint. But from the patient standpoint, I have to guess what you're feeling. You know what you're feeling. So when it comes to testosterone therapy, and I see people out there, especially ones that we call specialists or experts, and they go, the male hormone. And I go, it's a hormone. Estradiol is a hormone. Men have it too. And when they don't have enough of it, they end up with cardiovascular disease. They end up with bone issues. They need it too. It's a different dosage than we need.
Hmm.
It's a different level than we need, but they need it just as much as we need testosterone. So if we could just reference hormones as hormones and then understand that these hormones have levels and ranges as per female versus male, now we're talking. Same
Yeah,
with
and I think
statins, same with everything. Like
yeah,
statins, same deal. We need to start, there's not enough the data for women. They hate us in medicine. I'm like, I spent all day every day for over 20 years going through studies. And it's like, where's the one with the woman? Where's the women at?
I know.
Talking about statins, giving this, here you go, all of the women on statins, there you are. And I'm going, yeah, but statins don't work for primary disease prevention in women, only in men. They work for secondary disease prevention, but any woman that hasn't already had a cardiovascular episode, why are we giving them a statin? Why aren't we giving them estradiol? Because that's going to have a way bigger impact without the side effects of, dementia, possibly colon cancer, increased breast cancer risk.
Yeah, I like statins. I had a very, very loving cardiologist once have a bit of a temper with me because I have not at this point still used any statin drugs, and he was like, Jessica, because I'm very logical, I mean, I'm fun and I want to have a good time, but I'm fairly smart and you know, I like to know what's going on. And he said, this is about saving people's lives. I cut people open all the time and I do these heart surgeries. And when they do the statin drugs, I mean, I'm trying to save you from that. I don't want you to go through that. So I don't really get what the objection is and why you're so resistant to it. And I just told him that just felt that the evidence wasn't really there for preventing heart disease for someone at that point. I was in my mid 30s, and I didn't really want to go down that route. And isn't there something else I could do? And he said, well, if you start exercising regularly and you can get the cholesterol down naturally through exercise, I will stop bothering you. So I did. I joined the gym. I started weight training. And then the next time he looked at my numbers, they looked, it's a discharge. We don't need to see you anymore.
Some of
And
my close friends are cardiologists. One of my daughter's best friends, her dad was chief of the staff here at the cardiac unit, which is, top in Canada. And we'd go for dinner and we would chat. And I'm like, hey, I got a question for you. Why are you guys not, looking at hormones like estradiol instead of a statin? And he's like, we don't get taught about hormones. I'm a cardiologist. So,
mhm,
we've had conversations. Different cardiologist friends of mine sat down and I'm like, did you see this study? Did you see this
mhm.
info? And they're going, we really should have that crossover. We really should know about that. That's really interesting data. Why aren't we not shown that data? So I have some that I tag into some of my clinical cases here in Ottawa where I go, hey, check out these labs. I'm going to send you follow up, and this is the dose we're using with permission of my patient, obviously.
Yeah.
But they get to monitor the labs with us and they go, just estradiol? No statin. Huh.
Yeah.
And it's like, if they knew, cardiologists would be saying, here's your script for oral micronized estradiol instead of a statin for primary disease prevention.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things that gets me all the time too, is like we're terrified of breast cancer. And I understand
Yeah.
that. Like it is a terrifying disease. And I have a
Sure.
sister-in-law that had a radical double mastectomy and, very, very scary times. And,
Mhm.
she's totally recovered and recuperated and in remission and everything is all good. But we're more likely to die of heart disease.
Yeah,
And we're not
absolutely.
terrified of heart disease. I mean, like just not to the same degree, like not to the extent that we're really willing to like
Mhm.
dive into that. Like I myself was shocked that adding in some vigorous exercise could reduce my cholesterol.
Absolutely. Lifestyle medicine is very real.
Yeah.
That's what that is. It's lifestyle medicine. Get your sleep,
Yeah.
get your exercise, get those steps in. Eat better most of the time. You can still eat crap if you want to here and there, but
Yeah.
try to have it mostly be really healthy food for the majority of the time. These
Yeah.
things matter.
They really do. Like I remember
Mhm.
talking to one when I first started working with women in perimenopause, and we were kind of going over like what was she doing because she was feeling really horrible. And a lot of the stuff was really good. But then when we kind of dug deep, because there's got to be something, right? Like what is going on that you're really feeling horrible? And well, she was drinking about a bottle of wine every night.
There it is.
So
But we're not worried about
that's
breast cancer for that.
that's a that's a lot of sugar, like alcohol is it's going to affect potentially. I was like
Yeah.
try cutting that down and then see how you feel, and if you start to feel you'll notice, then maybe you'll be more interested in cutting it out because the benefit might not be worth that cost of feeling,
Mhm.
pretty awful. And the lifestyle stuff though, because that's kind of my area of where I am an expert, it's the hardest one to work with because you have to look at
Absolutely.
those habits, right? Uh,
Absolutely.
am I eating cereal like 3 times a day because I love the frosted cocoa puffs and then having sugar headaches and crashes and you know what I mean? Like, but
The
then getting,
hardest one is the cravings, and then you replace things that are missing that cause the cravings, and then that's fine. And you break the habit and you get new habits, and it all takes time and patience and being gentle with yourself. But the wine, we women love our wine.
yeah,
And we go, I don't want the estradiol. I'm scared of breast cancer, which is not a thing at all in any of the literature. But I'm going to pound back 2 or 3 glasses of wine every night, or even one glass of wine every night. I'm going, do you know how much that raises your breast cancer risk? What are we doing? Can we do
yeah,
something about
the
it?
cancer, that was like more recent with the recommendations, right? They changed the recommendations for how much alcohol consumption
Yeah.
is safe, and it's way lower than it was before. And
Yeah.
everybody's like, what the heck? And it's because of that cancer risk.
Yeah.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, it is a sad thing in some ways if you have to let go of something that you felt was really giving you joy, but there is a lot of joy that can be achieved otherwise. And it doesn't mean you can't have wine, just maybe not every day.
Right? Let's, maybe apply some common sense and have it on weekends.
Like moderation, right? Like that's the thing about like, or even just exercise. Like that was one of the things I liked about Dr. Sarah's class because she was talking about she was an avid runner. She loved to run,
Mhm,
really, vigorous cardiovascular exercise.
mhm,
And then through her perimenopause, and the reason she got into talking about perimenopause is because hers was horrid. She had a horrible experience herself.
mhm,
But being a doctor, she had access to prescriptions and information and learned to treat herself and others
mhm.
accordingly. And she said, and I've taken this advice from her, every morning she does a check-in about how she is. How was her sleep? Did she get enough deep rest? How was her heart rate? How is
Yeah,
she feeling? What was she planning on doing? Was it a running day? And if she
yeah,
realizes that she didn't have a good sleep, she didn't get enough deep rest, her heart isn't doing really well, she doesn't do the running that day. She just
yeah,
shuffles stuff around, right?
yeah.
So there's
I
other
track.
exercise.
I
Yeah.
track with my aura ring. As much as I hate to wear these devices,
Yeah.
I track, and there are days where I feel like I'm okay because I've got all the hormones of doing all the things, but then my body says, "Hang on, you didn't really get that restful sleep. Do you want to tackle a little bit less today?" So I take it easier.
Yeah. Do you like the ring? Is it annoying? I used to wear a Fitbit and I found it annoying.
I have been wearing, this is my new one now because I like go, I'm bougie like that. This is my third one, I think, that I have. So I've been wearing these for 6 years now. I love them. I love them. They tell you so much. I went into an MCAS flare, and
Mm.
because I'm doing microdosing of a GLP-1, I didn't feel the effects of the flare, which was a beautiful thing, which again goes into the whole microdosing GLP-1s, an amazing thing. But my body went, whoa, 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 what are we doing? What are we doing? Like danger, Will Robinson. I was lighting up like a cherry saying all these things are happening. And I canceled my plans for the weekend. I said, guys, I got to cancel plans. I got to take it easy or I'm going to end up in the emergency room because I'm having a flare. I didn't feel like it. And I breezed through it and came out the other side. And I thought, this didn't feel horrific. That's amazing. But my body still noticed the heart rate changes, the breathing changes, the sleep changing, the energy, the rest, the stress. It all registered. So this ring is because I have two autoimmune conditions and it's going to tell me that I'm going to crash before I crash. So I was able to just say, I don't feel super bad, but I'm going to take this weekend for myself and just veg on the couch and eat really good foods and hydrate lots and take it easy and not go to
Yeah.
Costco. No Costco.
No fluorescent lighting for you today.
No
Yeah.
fluorescent lighting for me too. Well, that's what these guys are for, right? This is to
Yeah.
block out all the.
Oh, I didn't realize that. That's so good though. I love them. They're very, very cute. Yeah, I go back and forth about whether I want to use technology on my body or not, and I can
Yeah.
pretty well go by feel, but I'm not dealing with something that's like, well, I have an inflammation condition, but I can feel when it's coming on before I get into like trouble land. And then there's things that I can do on the all natural side, which are maybe not medically proven or whatever, but I've just recently found a new doctor who, um, like, because a lot of them roll their eyes at me when I start saying my theories about what's happening with the inflammation and what might be contributing and the things that I do that actually help, which is fish oil and turmeric paste. But this doctor was like, oh, yeah, no, okay, you found what works for you and it's been working for you. And she took me seriously and she agreed that, I am the expert in my own life, which even that is just amazing to have someone believe that and
Yep.
trust me in what I'm in my experience. And, I think that a lot of women aren't getting the care that they need and they want it to be free. I was going to say we didn't talk about this one, but one of the ladies that I talked to last year in the conference, she's a naturopathic doctor in Ontario. And she said that what we think of as healthcare is kind of like public transportation, right? It's going to get
Mhm.
you there. You get on the bus, you get, you know what I mean? You pay your fare and but it's clunky and it's time consuming and it might not be the most efficient. And, there might be hiccups along the way and all that kind of thing. That's like our public healthcare system. It is there, but it's going to, it'll keep you alive, but it won't help you to get well. That's what I found.
Yeah.
And
That's it.
then, the
Yeah.
private care, where you're paying an expert in that area, they have the time, she said, to take that. Like, I don't know what your assessment is, but 45 minutes in an
Long.
hour,
Yep.
looking at everything, like wanting
Yeah.
to see all the test results and wanting to look at the hormones specifically and doing tests that, maybe other doctors never even had a look at to get a really full picture of what's going on holistically for that person.
Absolutely. And also, I mean, it's my intakes are 45 to an hour. And if I need a little bit extra, there's always a buffer that my team books for me
Yeah.
afterwards, which is meant to be for charting. But we have it there in case something happens that I need to dig a little deeper. Oh, I go through the supplements and most of them are crap and you don't need them. I'm light on the supplements. I don't care. It's a great avenue to make money, but that's not for me. No, thank you. I'd rather you be off what you don't need so you can afford to do other things. And a lot of times I look at a supplement and I go, huh, okay. Do you like it? They're like, yeah. Do you notice a difference? Yeah, I love it. Keep taking it. Take it. It's fine. It's not going to hurt anything. I don't have to like it. You feel it's benefiting you. Keep taking it. And then there's others where they go, well, I don't know. It's been like 6 months or 8 months. I just take it, but it's not doing anything. Well, by 8 months, if it hasn't done anything, you could probably get rid of it. And by getting rid of it, you might notice that, oh, it was actually doing something. Or you might feel completely nothing, in which case there was probably something better out there for you.
Yeah, for sure.
They're gonna know, and we
Yeah.
do test everything. Like I look at your thyroid, including antibodies. I look at all the hormones, everything out there, CBC, the lipids. And when it's indicated, I go, hey, let's get a really good screenshot of what your ovaries are doing right now for ovarian health. How close are you? Well, my periods are irregular, or I had a hysterectomy, so I don't know. Let's see what your ovaries are doing. How close are you to menopause? Because there are markers, your AMH, you can look at that. Let's look at your bones. What are they doing? I can add in a P1NP and a CTX. Let's get some numbers going. I can create a really great baseline with these patients so that then, even if they don't, most of my patients have been with me, some of them 8, 9, 10 years. But even if you're only with me for a year and then you move on because your family doctor has said, oh, I can take over that prescription and prescribe for you and cover it under provincial health care, do it. Absolutely save money. But at least now you've got all this information, a solid baseline that you can compare 2, 3 years down the road and go, this isn't quite where it was. What do I do now? And I always tell patients, you're always welcome to come back if you need a tweaking, or we can just do a consult if you just need me to step in and help because your family doctor doesn't quite have that training. It's what I'm here for. I don't mind. The idea is that we've established a very, very good baseline of everything.
Yeah, and family doctors don't have the time for that. I remember one time with my family doctor, I started to cry and I pretty like have good instincts and I was like, oh shit, sorry. She doesn't have the time. Like she would take that time with me. She's now retired, but um if she had the 20 minutes to console me and talk me through it, she would. And she just doesn't have the time today. But, a lot of people, they don't really understand like the pressures that are on the family doctor to be an expert in everything that could
Mhm.
happen and be dealing, in one room with someone who does have a cancer diagnosis and in
Yeah.
another room with someone who just has the sniffles and be trying to, go whole hog on all of that. Whereas seeing someone who can look really specifically at what's happening for you at mid-age, I
Mhm.
really feel like, well, because people will say, the functional medicine doc or, paying privately, it's kind of wrong and it shouldn't be there. But I feel like it is there because we need it. And it's meeting that need for women who are able to go that, or like for me, I was just so sick. I had no choice. I had to just borrow the money and do it. I really had no choice in the matter. They had kept me alive, but they weren't helping me to get well. And, the functional medicine doctor never was able to figure out exactly how to get rid of the inflammation condition, whatever it is. It's still there and in the
Mhm.
background, but I'm able to manage it in a way that there's no way that was going to happen in 15-minute sessions with the family doctor, even if I was going in on a regular basis every 2 or 3 months. It just was never going to happen. So
Yeah.
I kind of I like that way of looking at it, like public transportation or getting an Uber or getting
Yeah.
a cab or getting a limousine. And then depending on your temperament and your ability to have money or to get money or to borrow money, I have women that come to see me and their husband's happy to pay for it because I help them get back to feeling so much better. They get their wife back. So it's an investment that's actually, for your, like you're saying, for your long-term health and wellness. Yesterday, I wanted to mention this to you too, because I think you'd think this is pretty funny, but in a terrible way. We were talking, my husband and I, about, the trouble most women have getting any estrogen.
Mhm.
It's such a huge issue. Even especially the one that really gets to me is the estrogen cream, for the vaginal
I know,
dryness. And
right?
yeah, and this one has been shown it doesn't go throughout your whole body. It stays local where you put it. It's been safe. It's been shown safe for old, senior citizen, mature people, and it prevents UTIs to the point of, preventing like basically potentially kidney failure, right? If the infection gets up into your
Yeah.
kidneys, right?
Yeah.
So this is really powerful medicine and women can't get it. So I said to him yesterday, I was like, hey, do you think, because we were talking about the prejudice of the male companion, right? The male companion comes and the doctor all of a sudden sits up and takes a little more notice that woman is in trouble because she's got her male partner with her. I said, do you think that if the women went into their appointment and said, I'm struggling with my marriage, and the husband said she doesn't want to have sex with me because she finds it painful, would the doctor then be more inclined to, oh, well, now it's a man. So, we've given him, he can have as much of the medicines that he wants. Why can't she have, would she have better chances of getting her prescription? And we both think that she would. Now, we don't know
I've
for
seen
sure,
it.
but
I've seen it. I've seen it. I have literally seen it happen where I have had a friend go in and we're at a dinner party and we're all talking and they're like, my doctor said no, my doctor said no. And then one woman says, my doctor said no, but then I brought my husband and he said, we're in marriage counseling, we're in therapy. She doesn't want to have sex with me because she says it hurts. Well, it didn't used to hurt. And then she said, that's why I wanted to get the vaginal estradiol. And then the doctor went, here's your prescription. And she went, because he's not getting laid, none of my symptoms mattered. He wasn't getting laid. Here's your medicine. Cool.
well, I mean, like, I was like, could we just hire our brother to come in and say he's our husband? Like, would they know any better? And just say, because that's the thing, right? When it's just
Yeah.
the woman. I don't know if you've heard this before, but I've had several women now tell me that when she went in and asked specifically about the vaginal treatment, that she was told to just put up with it. Just put up with the
Yes.
pain, just do it anyway. Like,
We're
it's like,
constantly told that.
yeah.
Constantly. I get emails nasty. It's not me. It comes into my team. I feel really bad for them. Constantly, I get nasty emails. What do you think you're doing? I want to know your care plan. You know what? I have words for you, and none of them are PG for Facebook. But you can know where you can go, and I can give you directions how to get there because you are not a specialist. This is not your wheelhouse. When you get to my level, then we'll talk. But I'm not going to teach you because you don't know. We're specialists. These are prescribed medications by a specialist. Get out of here. But they get mad. I'm like, why are you mad? Your patient's finally getting results. She doesn't have chronic UTIs anymore.
Yeah.
No more vaginal infections. She
Yeah.
can have intimate relations with her partner. She's not complaining about anything anymore. Oh, the itchiness that she had wasn't from allergies, it was from lack of estradiol. She can put a sentence together again because she's not losing words. Where'd the word go for that? What is that? The word for that thing? It's butter. The word was butter. You couldn't remember the word butter? That's our hormones. It's
Yeah.
our self cannibalism of our brain. All of these things. And the doctor says, here's an antidepressant. Would you like a sleeping pill? No, I would like progesterone. Please,
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah. It's one of those things where it's like, you know, we're working in the system the way that it is. So
Mhm.
sometimes if you can figure out something like that, I was like, oh, the next time I have a woman talking about that and she's having trouble getting it, I'm going to suggest that she bring her partner. One of my clients was like, well, what do I tell him about why he needs to come with me to these appointments? Because he never had to before. So he's
Yeah.
confused. I was like, just tell him he's your support person and that you need someone, like a lot of us do. If we have some kind of a condition or something, it's a very useful tool to have a person who's not sick, not struggling, who's thinking clearly, who can remember, no, we were going to follow up in 3 weeks because you're overwhelmed by, all of the things that you're having to manage. And
Yeah.
then men can understand that. That makes sense to them.
Yeah.
I'm not going to forget something because you're sitting there and you're going to help me remember. And we need to give them a little bit more guidance because we've been able to, juggle all these million balls in the air And now we've had to let some of them drop. Jane Savitz talks about that. She's going to come and talk on Monday all about mental health and what happens for women. And I love the way that she put it, right? Like you've got balls up in the air. Some of them are glass balls. You can't let those fall,
Oh,
but a lot of them are plastic, right? If the laundry's clean, it doesn't really matter. If it's clean, it's good. If it's in the basket and it's clean, you know, fine. That's what you got today. But, the other things that can't be compromised on, then you go ahead and do that, or you put it off. I'm a lot like always shuffling. I shuffle my schedule depending on what's going on.
yeah.
Although I have
You've
to say
got a
I'm
heavy workload, right? Then all of
yeah.
a sudden you're going, I don't have that energy expenditure left to cook the meal I thought I was going to cook. So tonight's going to be a different meal, a little bit lighter, and everyone's going to help.
Yeah. Everyone, one of my good friends was like, okay, we came up with this strategy for dinner. Husband on Monday, Tuesday, wife on Wednesday, Thursday, and free for all Friday. Everybody's up for their own. And I was like, that is a brilliant plan because
I like
then,
that.
the meals are covered and everybody knows what's going to happen and what to expect. It's not like it's, well, I don't know. Do, 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 do.
I've got two teenagers and it's just me. My wife is in the States. So, and I mean, when she's here, it's great because it is a completely different type of relationship than a heterosexual one. It's two women who are both like, what do you need? What's your energy level at today? I got it. Okay, it's not my night to cook. It's who's got more energy to got you. But for the most part, it's me here with two teenage daughters. And they come home, it's no more what's for dinner. I don't know. What are you cooking? I took beef out for dinner. It's thawing. So what would you like to do with it? Because I'm going to be seeing patients and I'm busy until 7. So you guys can, one of them's like, I'm going to stir up the meat and make the tacos. You're going to
Yeah.
clean afterwards. And they take over and they do that. And it's a beautiful thing because we're all involved in deciding, I don't meal plan. I just don't. It's shitty. I hate it. I don't do it. So we all kind of say together, like, oh God, I don't want that. Let's do something different.
Mm-hmm.
It's a chicken night. So the other one's there mixing all the different things for putting the seasoning on and doing it, putting it in the oven, and the other one's cleaning up afterwards because I'm in here in my office charting and doing what needs to be done. It's a beautiful thing. But they're old enough now. I'm like, I drove you guys everywhere. I spent my life in my car, taking everyone everywhere they needed to go, cooking, cleaning, birthing, care. I'm all set now. You're 17. Off you go.
Yeah. I say that sometimes to women when they're like, oh, but they're too young. I'm like, are they over 12?
Right?
Because when in my, like I was expected to make myself useful, but when we're talking about someone who's over 12 years old, they should have the faculties to, turn on the oven and
Yes.
warm something up. And if they don't, like, are you really serving that person? Because my dad was raised during the Depression and in very like women do all of the
Mhm.
household labor and men do all of the money earning. And
Yeah.
then when I grew up, I kind of said to him, Dad, why are you're so useless? Like brilliant musician, amazing, smart mathematician. He's like a one of a kind genius, but you
Mm.
don't know this basic stuff. Like
Yeah.
like, how did that happen? And he was like, well, with my generation, my mom just didn't, it was just assumed that I wouldn't have to cook or clean. So
Hmm.
I was never taught that. And I was like, oh man, if I do have kids and they are male, they're going to learn all of the things. And so my children, when they were growing up, they were like, why do,
Yeah.
no one else, their moms don't make them do laundry. I'm like, yeah, well,
Well, too bad. You're going to learn. Yeah.
you're going to learn and you're going to be able to do all of the things. And that will make you a full, well-rounded human being and potentially a wonderful partner to someone in the future, perhaps, or at least able
My
to take care of yourself.
Yeah, my younger one, she was like 10 going, I can cook a little bit at dad's. Can I cook here? And I'm going, you're 10. I don't know how I feel about you at the stove, but I will sit here and watch you. You do your thing. And I'm watching going, she'll cook up. Now she's 14, but at 10, she would get up. I want eggs. She'd crack the eggs. She'd scramble. She could fry an egg better than I could at 11 years old. I'm going, can you make the eggs this morning? God, those are good. She was fine. She knew turn the stove on, turn the stove off, move the pan over, then put some water in it so it soaks. She knew what was up. My 17-year-old, I still go, water comes from the tap. No, no, we can't. She's like, well, I don't want to touch the chicken. Can I just put the sauce on it and put it in the oven? But you touch the chicken. I'm like, they have tongs. Get the tongs. What are you doing? So and they're both very different. They come from different dads, One has a very strong military foundation and she can take care of business. The other one comes from a dad where, God love him, he's a fabulous father, he's a great human being, but he has a maid and a cook and a this. And so she's like, I don't know, my laundry just magically appears in my drawer.
Yeah. Well, that's good that they have like the different ways of doing things, and I think it's really important. I'm glad we were talking a little bit about the family dynamic because I feel like that's one of the things that women need to be reaching out more for the help of the people that are in their household with them and being honest about what they're going through and not just trying to like tough it out and I'm not one of those anyway. I'm kind of an open book and telling everybody whether they wanted to know or not what was going on. But the turning point for me was one day, I had made dinner and then I took my dinner up to my bedroom and I closed the door and I was eating my dinner, but I just wanted to be alone. I just didn't want people making demands on me or asking me for stuff, or I just wanted to be by myself. And he came and, "Well, are you all right?" Because we're friends, me and my husband. We were in a band. That's how we met.
I love
And
that.
yeah, so he was like, "Are you all right? This is not normal behavior for you." He's
Mm.
more of a behaviorist. You can tell when the behavior is off. And I was like, you guys, and you're just I can't do it anymore, man. I got to take care of myself. And I just wanted some peace and quiet. And he said very wisely, okay, well, we're downstairs. And if you want to come join us, then you go ahead. And if you don't, I'm going to close the door down and then see,
I love
bye. I
it.
love you. And I was like, yeah, I think I need to talk a little bit more with him about what's going on before I get to that point.
Yes.
Just like leave me alone, I'm running away. So yeah, he's been really good, but it's been he didn't really get educated about menopause until I told him that men go through it too and to
Mm.
look into andropause. And then
Yeah.
you can't learn about andropause without learning about menopause because they, you know,
Yeah.
they're going together. All right, so
It's
we
very
are
much together. I love that. And tagging your kids
yeah.
in, like I have these guys. I know I talk about the progesterone trochees all the
Yeah.
time. When I'm cranky, because we get cranky when our hormones are doing this,
Oh yeah.
they will walk over
Here, mom.
and they don't say a word because they don't want to poke the bear. And they'll hand it to me and they disappear for 30 minutes. And then they come back, little, we good?
Yeah.
Because they know that that's going to just chill me right out.
Yeah.
I was cranky because maybe stressed, whatever, long
Who
day.
knows? Yeah.
But they know, and they know not to come over and be like, "Mom, what's wrong with you?" They just come over with the medicine and they go, "Sure." We work together that way,
Yeah.
and it's
Yeah.
kind of a beautiful thing.
It is. It is a beautiful thing. And I wish that more women were upfront about what's going on and talking about it. I have one friend who's like, I have to pretend like there's nothing wrong and be perfect
Mm,
for my child. And I'm like,
mm.
no, you have to show up and just do your best. Just do your best. That's going to be good enough. And I think we all need to embrace that more. So I am super excited that you're coming, Holly. And we had a question today, and now I'm wondering, she was wondering specifically about insulin, and so I don't know if you can somehow
Yeah,
throw some of that stuff about because it is all related with the hormones and the insulin, and you know what I mean, how that could potentially be contributing and things that she could look at, just because that's one of the things that we hadn't talked about before, but
yeah,
it is
absolutely. I
definitely,
mean, insulin resistance is a thing that you see all the time in perimenopause and
yeah,
menopause, right?
yeah,
So tackling that marker means tackling, like you've said, lifestyle choices come into play, but also what helps with inflammation or hormones are going to help with inflammation. So when we get those hormones to where they need to be, the inflammation starts to drop. We see everything fall into balance, and our body is better able to produce what needs to be produced. But it's also the lifestyle factor. So a little bit's the hormones, a little bit's the lifestyle. Do you have PCOS? Are there other things in the background, inflammatory markers that are perhaps not, interleukin 6, et cetera, that are not being tested for? So you don't know, is there an underlying thyroid condition that
hmm,
also can affect it? So there's a lot of different boxes to kind of check. And we need to do investigative work to say what's the cause of your insulin resistance? Is it straight up hormones or is something else happening? And then you can work to slowly kind of reduce it because you can do everything right. Well, my diet's good and I'm exercising and my hormones seem okay, but what's going on? And nothing's the needle's not moving. And then you notice that the LH and the FSH have a flip, and you go, I know that you're thin presenting, but you have underlying PCOS that went undiagnosed because nobody saw the flip. So that's why. And that then correlates with the insulin resistance. So check the box. Now we know what that is. Now we can formulate a game plan.
yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, so it's been really great to talk with you, Holly. I'm so glad that you're coming to speak at the conference, and it's just nice to get to know you a little bit better and
Mm.
spend a little bit of time together. So, is there anything you want to leave, any note you want to leave off on for people? Can they ask you questions if they have stuff that comes up,
Yeah.
or
Come find me on my Substack.
yeah,
It's, there's lots of free stuff and there's
yeah,
paid stuff. Some of the paid stuff is because I really deep dive in the studies. And I just posted an article that took me 16 hours to put together after editing. So it's a lot of my free time. So I have the paid one, but I also have a lot on the free one meant to educate women. So follow my Substack, read all of the things that's there. And yeah, if you have questions, find me in the group, tag me in the group, ask me a question in the group. If you want to find, hey, Holly, is this a thing and is there a study? Ask me, tag
mm,
me, and I'll say,
yeah,
oh, here's a study that shows that. Absolutely, here you go. And in the study, here's what it actually says. I'll break it down for you in the group. Like this study showed this, the nurse's study showed that, this dose, this long, this age, how it
yeah.
was given. Absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love the Substack. I've been loving it. I'm a big fan of the Substack, and I love what you're doing with it. And I love how it's really, I kind of feel like it's like the writer is leading the show on the Substack instead of like trying to give information, like trying to please people or something, right?
Yeah.
It's a really freeing place where you can just be totally honest and
Yeah.
yourself and share in a way that's just so loving and kind. And we do need that information, and we need to know that there is a lot of hope out there, even if you've been struggling for a long time. It's a lot of it is finding the right person to work with or the right people to help you and have the right people on your care team and all of that good stuff. Okay, and then I'm just here if you need me, and if anything comes up over the week, I'll let you know. Otherwise, we will see you next week, and we'll go live across Canada and help as many women as we can.
Awesome. All right.
Okay.
Yay.
Thanks, Holly. We'll talk soon.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.